my review of Hi-Fi Rush. As a player, I give Hi-Fi Rush a 4 out of 10. This game has amazing art. It has amazing music. The characters are great. The story is good. The layout, the stages all moving with the music. It has amazing concepts that they've done well. The major problem as to why this game scores so low is because it fails in the most important category. This game is fucking boring. It's not fun. I don't like traversing through the stages at all. It was a horrible time. I don't know why they had platforming in a rhythm game. It feels weird, clunky, slow. It just doesn't make sense that there's platforming and traveling. I would have much preferred it just be fighting, but at the same time I wasn't a big fan of the fighting either. It uses the same kind of fighting style as like the Dynasty Warrior sort of games, kind of like Persona Strikers-ish feel, where you're not necessarily fighting the enemy in front of you, you're fighting the area. So your attacks just kind of hit an area and not necessarily enemies, and you just keep going with the attack regardless. Fighting to the rhythm and all that was a cool concept, but it never really felt satisfying because it didn't ever feel like you were like fighting to the rhythm as the same opponents, because you were just fighting to keep hitting different areas and just kind of just being a blur while you did it. So it didn't feel very satisfying even when you hit like perfect rhythm attacks, because sometimes they would just fucking miss completely, or it like barely touch an enemy, or weird stun build-ups. Like my favorite fight throughout the entire game was the Korseka fight, because you don't even fight Korseka. It's just in a rhythm game, which was the best part about it. If there was more rhythm sequences in this rhythm-based game, I feel like it would have played a lot better. But trying to incorporate fighting and traveling with the rhythm as well just wasn't enjoyable. It felt more of a hassle compared to a cool thing. Like, it visually was appealing, but playing through it was not. And then, as a streamer, I give this game a 2 out of 10.
So,
because again, it's
you're
boring.
actually gonna learn how to play guitar.
Yeah, gotta practice. Need a backup job, just in case this doesn't work out.
It's just not satisfying to watch. You're watching as the streamer plays through. He just fights. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the fights. You can't really tell whether the streamer's doing well or not. Because honestly, as the player, I could barely tell if I was doing well or not. I'll be like, damn, I missed that fucking button right there, and that would have been a nice, perfect timed attack. But sometimes it just doesn't matter. We're hitting air anyways, or the enemy's already dead. You were in no danger. But then sometimes you just get absolutely deleted. Your health bar just gets wiped, and it's hard to even notice it if you don't even look in the top left corner to where your health bar is. And most of the time I'm not looking at the corner to see where my health bar is, because I'm trying to keep track of the enemies, trying to keep track of the rhythm, I'm trying to make sure I'm hitting the right buttons, and the viewers aren't aware of any of this. They're just watching a guy who just looks like he's floundering around with his fucking trash guitar, and it doesn't look visually appealing when you do it, and it's not entertaining to watch. And then when you're traveling from fight to fight, it's even worse, because what is there to even view there? Like, they get to take in the scenery, but fucking you can just Google pictures of the game if that's the point. Traveling there is a miserable, slow experience, and the viewers aren't gonna watch that shit. Nobody wants to watch that shit because it's boring. And so yeah, for a game that did so much extremely right, it's really depressing that it failed in the most important category of a video game, and that is, it's just not fun. I would not recommend this game. Yeah, it's just bad. It's not bad. It's not bad, because they got like an A+ in every category except for actually playing the game. It is not an enjoyable game to sit down and play, let alone spend 10 hours. After the first 2 hours, that first boss fight, I was like, alright, it's cool. And then I had no motivation to play it again. And then I was like, you know what? It's only 10 hours long, and that is the only reason I beat this game, is because I knew it was only 10 hours long. I'm like, I'm just gonna spend the whole day grinding it. I'm just gonna get it done and over with so that I could say I did it and I beat the game. And I did it. And let me tell you, it never got better. Like, the more you played throughout the game, it's the same shit the entire way through. You get new combos, you get new allies, you get new moves, but it's just still, you're just fighting an area with no satisfaction in actually hitting any of the cool things that you feel like you're hitting, because it's just so unsatisfying. And they even did a good job of like progressively introducing new enemies. It did so good in so many categories that a lot of big games horribly fail in. Characters, story, like, sure, you might not like them. Whatever, everyone has their own preferences. The art style is constantly switching, the bosses had cool poses and cool fight scenes, enemies progressively getting better, and you're not fighting the same thing over and over and over and over, you're fighting different waves and stuff. Like, there was so many good about this game, but it's boring. It's, don't do it to yourself. It's just not fun. And that's all there is to it, really. That is my review of Hi-Fi Rush.